I abandoned my husband and children because I wasn't ready to be a mother, and now I want them back. Don't hate me. Don't start judging before reading this completely. I don't want to justify myself. I just need to tell my truth because for years I've hidden it, even from myself. I was 26 when I became a mother for the first time. It was a planned pregnancy, yes, but more because of pressure from my then husband than from real desire. He had wanted to be a father even before we got married. I wasn't sure, but I went along with it. I convinced myself that the normal thing was to follow that path, that sooner or later maternal instinct would be born in me. It never did. I'm not a monster. I tried. I swear I did. I gave the best I had in me, but it wasn't enough. While my friends talked excitedly about diapers and crawling, I felt like I was drowning. While my husband told me I was made to be a mom, I looked in the mirror with dark circles under my eyes, cracked breasts, and an emptiness in my chest that nothing could fill. And the worst part is, they blamed me even for that. My husband, Andres, was the perfect father, devoted, tender, always available. Everyone loved him for it, even my family. "You're so lucky to have a man like him," they said. Lucky? Where was my luck when I couldn't sleep more than 2 hours in a row? Where was my luck when he left for work feeling useful while I was locked in with diapers, vomit, and guilt? 2 years after our second child, I collapsed. I started going to therapy, but I didn't tell him. Andres said it was just mental nonsense, that what I needed was distraction, to go out more. He thought a couple of date nights at the movies would bring me back to the old me. The old me before what? Before losing myself completely. One day, after an argument over something as stupid as who forgot to buy diapers, I locked myself in the bathroom, sat on the floor, and knew I couldn't go on. I felt like an imposter. I loved my children, but I didn't love the life that came with having them, and that, according to everyone, made me a bad woman, a bad mother, selfish. So I made a decision, the hardest one, the one no one understands. I left. I talked to my parents. I asked them to care for my children for a while. I told them I needed to put myself back together, that I didn't want my kids growing up with a broken mother. They cried. They begged me to think it over, but I had already decided. I left Andres a letter. A cowardly letter, I know, but I didn't have the courage to face his eyes. In it I told him I didn't blame him for anything, though deep down I did. That I needed to find myself again. That the kids would be safe with my parents. That someday he'd understand. I didn't come back for years. In that time, I rebuilt my life. I met someone. I fell in love again. This time I felt loved not for being a mother, wife, or caregiver, but simply for being me. For the first time in a long time, I breathed, I slept, I laughed, I felt alive. But I never stopped thinking of them, my children. Every birthday tore me apart inside. Every Christmas I imagined what they were doing, if they still remembered me, if they asked about me, or if they had completely erased me. For a long time, I convinced myself I did it for them, that an absent but healthy mother was better than a present but destroyed one. But today, I don't know if that was true or just an excuse I repeated so I wouldn't feel like trash. What I do know is that I want to go back, that I need to. Not because of guilt, though I feel it. Not because I'm missing something, though I am. But because now I truly want to be a mother, and I'm willing to do anything to get my children back. When I met Mateo, I wasn't looking for anyone. We crossed paths at an art exhibition, one of those things you go to only because a friend insists. He made me laugh in the first minute. Soon we were talking as if we'd known each other forever. I told him my story from the beginning. Not every detail, of course, but enough. He knew I had left a life behind, that I had children, that I wasn't a blank slate. And he stayed. Mateo is different from Andres. He listens. He doesn't try to fix me or tell me what to do. He doesn't expect another version of me. He just accepts me. He makes me feel like I'm not a mistake, and because of that, I dared to dream again. He wanted to be a father. He talked about it with excitement. And I started to want it too. I thought this time, I could do it right. That I was ready. That I wasn't the same woman who once fled with tears in her eyes and a half-packed suitcase. But then came the tests. I won't go into medical details, only this: my body can't anymore. The gynecologist was clear: complications, interventions, risks. Not impossible, but very unlikely. And each attempt could cost me more than I was willing to pay. That night I sat in front of Matteo, not knowing how to tell him that the thing he wanted most, I couldn't give him. He took my hand and said, "You already have children. If they ever come back, we could build a family. I'd be willing to try." And that's when I knew. I had to try. Not just because Matteo wanted them, not just because I can't have more kids, but because for the first time, I wanted them back from a place of love, not guilt. I picked up the phone and dialed my mother's number. "Hello." Her voice, dry. "Mom, it's me." A silence. Longer than I expected. "What do you want?" I swallowed hard. "I want to see the kids." "They're not kids anymore. They're teenagers. And they don't want to see you." I didn't know how to respond. I asked if I could at least talk to them. She said they weren't home, that it wasn't a good time, that maybe later. That maybe haunted me all day. A week later, I sent gifts. Thoughtful ones, not random junk. My eldest's favorite book. A bracelet with the middle one's initial engraved. And for the youngest, now 7, a trendy video game. No response. I sent another message, this time to Andres: "I just want to talk." One conversation. We owe ourselves that. His reply was brutal: "We had our conversation when you decided to leave. There's nothing left to say." I didn't understand. After all this time, wasn't he supposed to forgive me at least a little? Didn't they see I was trying to do the right thing? Weeks went by. My stomach was in knots until I got an email from my daughter. Short. Sharp. Like a stab: "Don't come back. We don't want you. You're not welcome." I stared at the screen, breath heavy. That couldn't be my daughter. Not the one I cared for those first years. Not the one who called me mommy with that sweet little voice when she was scared of the dark. I went to the bedroom. Matteo was reading. I sat on the bed. "They don't want me," I said bluntly. He closed the book and looked at me with tenderness that sometimes hurt more than rejection. "Maybe it's a process. Maybe you need to give them time." "I don't have time," I answered. "If I don't act now, I'll lose them forever." For the first time, I saw doubt in his eyes. "Are you sure? Forcing it might cause more harm. And what other option do I have?" I said, my voice breaking. "I'm not a stranger. I'm their mother. If I have to remind them the hard way, then so be it." I didn't want to reach this point. But when I saw none of them even thanked me for the gifts, when I read that message from my daughter telling me I wasn't welcome, I understood that no one was going to give me another chance willingly. I sat at the computer, opened a new tab, and typed, "Lawyer custody absent mother." My hands shook as I dialed. "I need to get my children back." The calm, professional voice on the other side asked for details. I told her my story. Not dressed up, no excuses, just the facts: that years ago I left, that I left them with my parents, that Andres never legally fought for custody, and that now I wanted to be a mother again because I was ready, and because I couldn't have more children. Silence. "Then, have you had contact with them in recent years?" "Only recent messages. They've all rejected me." "How old are they?" "The eldest, 17. The middle one, 15. The youngest, 7. She inhaled before continuing, "Legally, you're still their mother. Unless custody was revoked by a court, you still have rights. But there's a key point. Prolonged abandonment without justified cause can be grounds for permanent loss of custody, especially if the minors don't want to see you. My chest tightened. But I still have a chance? Yes. But you must be ready to fight. And I was. We started working on the case. She asked for proof of my stability, contracts, references, medical reports. They sent me for a psychological evaluation. They looked at me like they were searching for cracks, a sign of instability, anything to justify that I wasn't fit. I sat straight, spoke firmly, showed confidence, because this time I wouldn't run. When I told Matteo what I was doing, his reaction chilled me. You hired lawyers without talking to me? I'm not asking permission, I said. I'm doing what I have to do. That sounds more like revenge than love. His words stung, but I didn't break. This isn't a whim. It's my right. That night he slept on the couch. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment, each diaper, each sleepless night, each decision that led me here. Maybe no one would ever understand, but I didn't leave out of hate. I left because I felt I'd die if I stayed. Now they call me selfish for wanting to return. But isn't Andres selfish for blocking me without even hearing me? Isn't my daughter selfish for calling me a stranger when I gave her life? Isn't everyone selfish for clinging to wounds instead of trying to heal them? That week, I went to my parents' house. Years since I'd seen them in person. My mother opened the door with the same expression she used to punish me as a child, frozen disappointment. What are you doing here? I need to talk to them, I said. They don't want to see you. You're reopening wounds that had already healed. And you think it doesn't hurt me? My father appeared behind her, older, stooped, but with the same hard gaze. You lost your right to hurt when you left them. I swallowed. Then I'll do what I must. The easy way or the legal way. You're going to drag them into court? Do you really think that'll make them love you? My mother asked. I don't want them to love me. I want them to remember I'm their mother. I left without saying goodbye. That night, my lawyer sent me the first documents to initiate a custody case. Everything was moving. Soon Andres would be notified. And if that meant they'd hate me even more, then so be it, because this time I wasn't going to disappear without a fight. The lawsuit was filed on a Monday morning. My lawyer called to confirm. The documents had been delivered to Andres in person. We had 30 days for a preliminary hearing. The children would be evaluated by a social worker. The judge would decide whether supervised visits would be allowed. Matteo stood silently in the doorway while I was on the phone. When I hung up, I asked, "Are you going to say something?" "No," he finally said. "I've realized I have nothing to say. It's not fair that you look at me like I'm a criminal. I'm doing this out of love." "Love?" He gave a bitter laugh. "Who exactly do you love? Those kids you haven't seen in years, or yourself, who can't bear being empty?" That was the last thing he said that night. The next day he left with a suitcase and a "I need to think." He never came back. Days later, my phone exploded, messages, emails, missed calls. Andres had posted on social media an old photo of me hugging the kids and a letter dripping with emotional vengeance. The woman who abandoned us when we needed her most now wants to return and steal the peace we fought so hard to build. My children are not bargaining chips to ease your guilt. We won't allow it. Comments poured in. Some defended me. Others, I won't repeat them. It hurt. But it fueled me too. The assigned social worker explained the process. I'd be interviewed, then Andres, then the kids. Reports, evaluations, maybe even mandatory therapy if the judge deemed it necessary. I asked to speak first. I wanted them to hear me without filters, without Andres' script lodged in their heads. In that small gray office, I told my story. The collapse. The need to escape. The rebuilding. The medical impossibility of more children. Mateo. My daughter's letter. My mother's silence. Even the fear that never left me. Thank you for being honest, the social worker said. But you must know, your children will also be heard. And what they feel now may weigh more than what you lived then. I knew. But it still hurt. Later, my lawyer told me exactly what my daughter said. I don't trust her. I don't consider her family. My eldest said worse, if they force me to see her, I'll leave home. And the youngest? Why did she leave? Was it because she didn't love us? I had to leave the room so I wouldn't cry in front of everyone. That night, I locked myself in, turned off my phone, spoke to no one. I asked myself if I had crossed a line, if I was destroying more than I could repair. But then I remembered a conversation with my own mother years ago. When I was a teenager, sometimes you make me feel invisible, I screamed. I didn't know how to be a mother, she answered. But that doesn't mean I can't try now. Maybe not so you'll call me mom, but so that one day you can say, at least she tried. At the next hearing, the judge would decide if I could see them under supervision. I didn't know what would happen. Maybe they'd hate me more. Maybe they'd shut the door forever. But at least now I could sleep knowing I wasn't running anymore. The hearing was on a Thursday afternoon. A bright white room where silence hurt more than words. My lawyer. My ex-husband. His lawyer. A judge who barely looked at me. Andres didn't speak to me. Didn't look at me. He wasn't the same man I once knew. The judge reviewed the reports, the testimonies, my statement. His voice flat, technical, the mother has not lost her legal right. However, the prolonged absence has caused emotional rejection from the minors that cannot be ignored. Supervised visits are authorized in neutral facilities with professional accompaniment, only if the minors voluntarily agree. In short, I didn't lose my rights, but I didn't win anything either. My lawyer congratulated me. It's not victory, but it's a step. I didn't feel victorious. I felt exposed, naked in front of a family that no longer recognized me. I left the court without a word. Walked barefoot with my heels in hand. Sat in my car for half an hour, staring at my phone lighting up with notifications, insults, media requests, even one cruel message. How dare you want kids only because you can't have more? The worst, a story my daughter posted. An old picture of us, when she was 3. Caption, I remember that hug. It was the last before she disappeared. It broke me. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just shattered quietly inside. Maybe I'll never repair what I destroyed. Maybe not. But I realized something, I'm not running anymore. And that's a kind of love too. For years I thought leaving was brave, that escaping before causing more harm was the honest path. But now I understand another kind of courage, staying, even when no one wants you there. Maybe my kids will never want to see me. Maybe the youngest won't even remember me as real. Maybe I'll just be a shadow in their memories. Maybe that's my punishment. But if one day they knock on my door, out of anger, doubt, or need, I want to be there, arms open. Not to redeem myself, but so they can't say I didn't try. Mateo hasn't returned. I don't blame him. He fell in love with a version of me that no longer exists, the woman who was calm, who didn't stir the past, who brought no drama to the table. But she wasn't real. She was only a pause between storms. Now I'm alone. But for the first time, I don't feel lost. I'm preparing an appeal. My lawyers believe that with more evidence and family therapy, I could request real shared custody. Not just 1-hour visits under supervision. Real coexistence. Time to build something, even from zero. And I'm going to do it. The next update might take months. But I'll be back. Because this time, I won't let them erase me from their lives without fighting for my place. Update. Soon.